Well, thank you, Carolyn, and thank you to everyone at Cure SMA for everything that you do. Learning more about your work, the advocacy, research, direct support, community building, and the way your members are making spaces more accessible for everyone, it's impossible not to be inspired. I was moved to hear the way that Carolyn spoke about the importance of progress and forward motion as we work on empowering Americans through better transportation infrastructure and policy, conscious of the relationship between literally and figuratively moving forward. It is imperative that every person be able to access different modes of transportation safely and with dignity. So let me give a brief update on what the U.S. Department of Transportation is doing to deliver real improvements for accessibility for Americans. This past July, on the 33rd anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, we finalized a rule that will increase the size and accessibility of airplane bathrooms. We're also working on new rules that would require better training for airline staff who assist passengers with disabilities or handle battery-powered wheelchairs and scooters. I know so many of you and your loved ones have had the terrifying and infuriating experience of having a wheelchair damaged or even being injured during a flight. Nobody should wonder while preparing to board a flight if they will be able to arrive as safe and as whole as when they left. And if you are hurt because of an airline's actions, you should be able to take action. The Biden administration is urging Congress to pass legislation allowing passengers with disabilities to pursue legal action against airlines that violate their rights. And for the first time, we are embarking on the research and steps needed to begin work making it possible for air travelers to stay in your own wheelchairs when you fly, something that's already possible on other forms of transportation. This will take time, longer than I want, but we are clear about our goal and we are moving towards it. Of course, the experience of flying isn't just what happens on board a plane. Through President Biden's infrastructure law, we have already funded infrastructure projects to improve accessibility at 126 airports, adding wheelchair ramps, accessible restrooms, and more. And the number of airports is growing every year. Also, people taking public transit will start to benefit from the almost $700 million that we've awarded through the first ever All Stations Accessibility Program to retrofit old rail and subway stations. We're adding elevators, installing ramps, updating fare gates, and more in places like Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Ohio, Illinois, and Washington State, with additional funding and award announcements on the way. On our roads, we know that we need the vehicles of the future to serve everyone. It's why we're working to ensure that electric vehicles and EV charging stations are accessible. And it's why last July we awarded funding to 3 teams to develop design solutions to help enable people with physical, sensory, and cognitive disabilities to use automated vehicles. Let me end by again thanking you for your work and for recognizing the U.S. Transportation Department with this award. I share this honor with colleagues who have led so much of the good work, including the unstoppable Kelly Buckland, who I believe is joining you today. As Cure SMA works toward a cure, this community ought to have the ability to travel safely and with dignity, and the world ought to be able to benefit fully from the contributions of the talented members of this community. Together, we are working to make that a reality for more and more people across every mode of transportation in every part of the country, so that every American can have equal access to that idea of forward motion and progress, as Carolyn put it so well. So thank you again, and have a great event.